So we're picking up on step number 5 for Word Chapter 1, Guided Project 1-2. I have my file, work file on the right. I have my instructions on the left. The next step, 5A, has me select the entire document. I do that by the Control A key, and I can mark that done. Change the font to Cambria. So on the Home tab in the Font group, I want to find the box that there's a drop down that allows you to change the font style, the font family, I guess. We want to change it to Cambria. Notice, watch my document back here when we're moving. It automatically shows what we're selecting. So that's a really good technique to see. If you don't really care what the font is, you just want it to look a certain way, you can just move through the list and find the font that you want. Of course, our instructions are telling us to use Cambria, so we're going to click Cambria, which is a serif typeface, which means it has little leaders and trailers on it. So if you were to look at this letter here, see how it's got the little bar at the bottom? Those are called leaders and trailers, and they help you read the line. If you look at the instructions, there is not any of those leaders. Look at this P here. It doesn't have a little bar at the bottom. Those are called sans serifs, or without serifs. Those little marks are serifs. Okay, so we did that. So now we're on to step 6. Select the title of the document. So that's this online learning information. There's like 4 or 5 different ways you can select it. You know, you can triple click on it because it's a paragraph, and a triple click will select the entire paragraph. Remember, double click just selects a word, but we want just this line. So if I come out here and watch my mouse, it changes from an I-beam to an arrow. If I double click, let me go down here and show you. I'm going to come over here, double click. Oops, I triple clicked. Sorry, single click. Selects just the physical line. If you come out here and you double click, it does the paragraph. So in this case, I'm just going to come over here and click, and it picks that one line, the online learning information, which is the title. So now we're going to go to the Layout tab, which is another place that we can work with paragraph spacing. Remember last time we did it from the dialog box on the Home tab paragraph group. You can also go straight to Layout, and right here, spacing before and after, as well as indent of the paragraph. But we're going to change the spacing before to 36. So we're going to click the Layout tab, and we're going to change this to 36. Do you see as I'm clicking, let me see how it's increasing that. It's putting that extra space, but I didn't have to go through and do enter, 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 or any of those things, right? Because you don't really, doing that type of activity just causes editing down the road to be difficult. After spacing is going to be 18. So let's verify we did this. Before spacing, 36. After 18, because we only have this paragraph selected, that change only applies to this paragraph. So these paragraphs down here have their own before and after spacing. So the difference from last time, we did a Control A, which selected the entire document, so everything took on that format. This time we only had this one paragraph. All right, click the center button. So I'm going to go back home, and right here in the paragraph group, these little lines here, left, center, right, justify. I'm going to pick center. It's going to take online learning and move it to the center. As long as I don't, double click somewhere else, it's going to keep me see if I click somewhere else, it's going to take that away. As long as I don't click anywhere else in the document, like I'm going back and forth between these documents, that's okay. But if I click anywhere in this document, it unselects it. The way to fix it is you just reselect that text, all right? So we're going to click the font launcher, right? So anytime it says launcher, that's this little, I learned it as the dialog box launcher, but they just call it launcher. So we're going to go to the font group on the Home tab, go to the little bottom corner, that's our launcher, and it opens up the font dialog box. Got it. Change the font style to bold. Change the font size to 24. Now these steps I could have done up here, right? Here's bold, here's the 24. But this next step, click the small caps. There isn't anything on here that allows me to do that. That's why I had to go to the dialog box to do those changes. So the ribbon has a lot of options on it, but it doesn't have everything. And so these little boxes are your pathway to more. So not everything has more, right? If I look at some of these, there's no little corner box. That's because everything's on the ribbon. But if there are things that do not display on the ribbon, the path to see them is clicking on this box and getting the dialogue. So what we want to do is look at these effects and find the small caps. We're going to click on that. You'll see it display down here. So everything that's lowercase will still be the size of a lowercase. It's just going to be an uppercase letter. That's what small caps means. Everything's capitalized, but the sizing of them is different. That's different than all caps. All caps makes everything capital, but the size of capital. Small caps means everything's capital, but they retain the size that they were before. All right, so that's done. Click the font color drop down, and choose the fourth color in the first row of the theme color. 1, 2, 3, 4. That's this blue. I'm going to rest my cursor on it. It's going to pop up that tooltip, and it says blue-gray text 2. That matches. Good. Blue-gray text 2. Got it. Click the Advanced tab. Okay, so we did everything here. So now down here, it's not changing here yet until I hit OK, but down here it's showing me. So I've got the small caps, it's bold, it's bigger, it's blue, right? It's that dark kind of almost like a cadet blue. So that's cool. We got it. So now we're going to move to the Advanced tab, and we're going to go there, and this is where we could do some things like compress or expand the spacing. And what that means is the space between the letters. It's almost like your kerning, which is adjusting the white space between letters. And if you think about it, a letter I doesn't take up as much room as a capital letter H, right? The capital letter H is wider. But if all the letters take up the same space, it kind of looks weird. So kerning's a way that you can do that. I click the Advanced tab. In the spacing, right here, we're going to say we're going to expand that spacing, or we're going to make the space between every letter a little bit more white space. So we're going to pop that up to 1.2 and watch what happens. All of those letters have a little bit extra space between them. Click that, and the last thing to do is to click the OK. Once I click OK, this is going to take on that look. I hit OK, all right. There we go. Now, if yours did not change, if something else changes, because you started with the incorrect thing selected, right? So you would just have to undo, right? And then fix everything up. I'm going to redo. I wonder if that space is supposed to be there. Oops, I'm going to take that away. Okay. I think I'm going to end this movie at this point. We'll pick up the next one on step 7. Thank you.